Welcome to the Savvy Leader Podcast, the place for growth, learning, and inspiration for leaders just like you. I'm your host, Kristin Gallatin, and each week we will dive into the grit, grace, and gratitude it takes to become the savvy leader you were always meant to be. Hey friends, welcome to the Savvy Leader Podcast, where we are going to continue to honor the journey. I'm Kristin Gallatin, I'm your host, and I really want to share a very personal part of my story with you today. And this felt so especially appropriate for this month of December as we prepare to celebrate Christmas and the joy of this beautiful season. This time of year naturally invites reflection and gratitude and so much meaning for so many. And because of that, I want to share with you my walk in faith and how I came to truly know and love Jesus. Before I dive in, though, in case you're new to the podcast, here's a little context about me. I'm a real estate broker and owner of Savvy Properties. I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate all over the place. I'm also the co-founder of Lead Network Professionals, a professional networking community that brings together like-minded professionals who want to grow, serve, and reach success. Lead is truly a passion project of mine. I've also recently founded the Savvy Living Network, and I'd love you to check it out at savvylivingnetwork.com. I've spent decades in leadership and business, managing teams, building systems, training people, and navigating some pretty high-pressure environments. I'm also a wife. I'm a mom and a grandma, and today I can confidently say that I am a Christian. But I didn't always know God, and I didn't always know Jesus. For a long time, I couldn't even tell you the difference between the two. But today, I can say this clearly. I love Jesus Christ, and my heart burns for him every day. God is my creator. But those sentences, they didn't come very easily for me. Statements like that came through some struggle, resistance, and a whole lot of unlearning. I grew up in a Catholic family where church was more of an obligation than a choice, and just before my first communion, I remember seeking out my pastor because I had this one burning question inside of me and I needed to ask him before my communion service. My question was simple. It was, how do you believe in God? How do you even know that God exists? His answer, just as simple. He said, well, you have to have faith. I think I might have been a little too young for such a broad and honestly somewhat theological response, so church then became an obligation for me too. That was until I was ready and willing to learn so much more. My spiritual journey truly began when my husband and I decided to become self-employed. This was going to be a huge leap for us, you guys. And my husband said something to me that I will never forget. I can still hear it clearly in my mind. He said, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to work. We might lose everything. But the one thing I do know is you need to get right by God. At the time, I didn't understand what that meant, nor did I understand his stern voice when he said it. Because what does hard work have to do with God? What do discipline, education, perseverance, and grit have to do with faith? As it turns out, everything, literally everything, is pivotal on your faith. That was my first turning point. I knew I needed to learn more. I knew that it mattered to my husband and it mattered to me too. It mattered to our future, so it deserved my full attention. Around that time, we became members of a local First Baptist church in our small town community. And the pastor there, he was so great. The way he taught scripture and the way he spoke really resonated with me. The lens he brought to faith was a huge part of what allowed me to process all of the things that I really needed to process. And that was where it all began. Now, because I was baptized as a baby in the Catholic Church, I didn't want to immediately jump into baptism again, as is tradition in a First Baptist church. What I wanted was to understand what it was that I was doing. I wanted to understand the why. I am a woman of integrity, you guys, and I wanted to be honest. I wanted to feel faith before making such a huge commitment before my congregation and the world. And during that time, one of the first experiences I had in turning the corner of my faith was what I like to call the heart of the matter. It's this realization that we are all going to face hard choices and uncomfortable situations, moments where we try to do what we believe is right, even if we still fall short. Because here's the truth, you guys. We are all broken in very, very different ways. Some obvious, some not so obvious. Some people look like they have it all together, don't they? The family, the career, even the money. But I promise you, if you start scratching that surface even just a little bit, you'll often find pain underneath. Pain over past decisions, old wounds, and even regrets. That doesn't make us bad people, though. It just means that we're part of the human condition. And this is what I learned so vividly. God sees your heart before he sees your face. And there is no fooling God, am I right? He knows when we choose the easy path instead of the right one. He knows our intentions, even when our behavior looks really, really good on the outside. And when we make the wrong choice, it's not about the punishment. It's about remorse and then reflection and having a genuine desire to do better next time. Because when you know better, you do better, right? That desire, that is where the real growth begins. Feeling convicted doesn't mean that you're completely condemned. It simply means that God is working within you and within your heart. So don't beat yourself up when you make a mistake. Pause, reflect, pray, and seek forgiveness. Open up your Bible, get quiet, and listen to the things and the words that he has for you. And then slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, you will begin to change. And when you start to walk just a little bit closer to the path that Jesus walked, you'll find that some things feel so great, and then some things, they feel so much harder. It's because you began to see your past choices more clearly and where your heart was at during that time. That discomfort you might be feeling, that's how you know that you're actually on the right path now. All right, this next turning point shifted my entire understanding of creation itself. Now, I'm not here to debate creation and evolution with you. I am not that smart. But I learned about this concept of young earth. And according to biblical timelines, our earth is really only maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old. I did say thousands, not millions, not billions. Now, when you think about our earth being millions and billions of years old, that's massive. And it's really easy to feel small and insignificant in the grand scheme of that. So when I started letting this concept of young earth sink in, and just the idea that it's only been around for 7,000 or 8,000 years, I felt chosen. I felt seen. I felt selected. I realized that I was meant to be here at this time with these very people for a very specific reason. This was not random. This is not accidental. This is completely intentional. We all come from one origin for one purpose, by one Creator. And you, exactly as you are significant. Life was never promised to be easy, but it is ours. So wear those rose-colored glasses just once in a while and walk with gratitude for the life that you've been given. Step into your purpose, even if you don't fully understand it yet. And I'll tell you what, you will be here until your purpose has been completely fulfilled. So you better take care of that body that you're running around in, because you're going to be in it for the long haul. That's right. Okay, the final turning point for me was the most challenging. This part of my journey brought me full circle right back to my husband. He's always been a devoted follower of Christ, a God-fearing man of integrity, and a pretty strong moral compass. But as a fiercely independent woman, someone who built her life through perseverance and self-reliance, I struggled with this biblical view of marriage. The idea of a man as the leader of the household just didn't sit well with me at all. But as I grew closer to God, I did realize something very powerful that opened the door to an understanding. And that is that when we are not living in alignment with how we are designed, our life is harder and it feels pretty damn bumpy. And my marriage was bumpy, definitely bumpy for me. Not because my husband was wrong per se, but because I was resisting this beautiful design that God had created for me. It's important to understand that biblical leadership is not about domination. It is about service. And I have always believed that within every intimate relationship, each partner must care more about the other person's happiness than their own if they're going to make it work. That's right. It's got to be almost as if you're in a friendly competition to see who can outlove the other. Truly understanding what it means to say a man must love his wife as Christ loves the church means that very thing, and so much more. It creates a safe space. It offers support, and also it gives her a voice. While listening to a series on biblical marriage, I put some of what I was learning about the role of a wife in play in my own marriage without my husband knowing about it. I did. And when I stopped pushing and started trusting, something honestly changed. I could see it. And then I softened up a bit. Yeah, I did. I really softened up a bit. And then he stepped up. He really did. And we grew closer. And it was then that I knew that I was ready to make this real commitment to God. And I was baptized December 24th, 2017. And my love for God deepens every day still. God became for me what I didn't have growing up, a father, a mentor, and a steady presence who patiently waited while I found my way. So where does that leave me now? Well, it leaves me in gratitude and great humility and in awe of a God who sees the heart, honors growth, and never ever wastes a single part of our story. If you are questioning, resisting, or even still searching, know this: you are significant. You're not behind either. You're right on time. You are not broken beyond repair. You are absolutely becoming. Thanks so much for honoring this journey with me, you guys. Until next time, keep walking, keep listening, and keep trusting the path before you. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Savvy Leader Podcast. Be sure to check the description below for any links or resources we mentioned today. And for even more inspiration and tools to help you on your own leadership journey, come on over and join the conversation in the Savvy Leaders Lounge. That's savvyleaderslounge.com. And we'll see you next time.